What's up, guys? So I got a question from our friend Jim J. He wants to know how to know the difference between the heart and the head, or how would I explain the difference between these two things. So first of all, I look at this as a metaphor sometimes, or sometimes look at this as a literal thing, sometimes I look at it as a spiritual thing. I don't have one particular way of thinking about this and looking at it. So let me explain all the different ways I think about it. First of all, the head and the heart are just two places where you could know something from. I also like thinking about it as the head, the heart, and the gut, or sometimes in acting they talk about the head, heart, the gut, and the groin. I like to think about it that way too. A guy, Elliot Hulse, likes to say head, heart, and balls. I think there's a theme that there's some kind of like main locations where we can know stuff from in our body, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 100, whatever. And so as far as a metaphor, we could say the things we know with our head are the things that logically make sense. The things we know with our heart are the things we deeply value, that are most important to us. The things we know in our gut, it's kind of like instinct, or maybe things we're afraid of, or we can, things that will keep us safe. Very kind of deep, physical things, you could say. And things we know in our groin are the things that sexually excite us. Where our creative impulse is really inspired. It's like different energetic centers. I've heard about there's certain neurology, I don't know how true it is, where there's clusters of neurons around the heart and the gut. They call it, the different types of almost knowing and thinking can happen there. Obviously it's not like the brain, but there's a collection of neurology, and maybe there's some resonance in your thinking that happens around that area, and maybe that's why we feel it in that place. And when we say, what do I know in my heart, maybe it's not just a metaphor, maybe there is some neural activity happening there, and there is a knowing activated from that place. Maybe. When I use the word follow your heart, the words follow your heart, or Joseph Campbell says follow your bliss, follow the things that you would most love. Love is like from your core, right? From your heart. The heart is a symbol of love. What would you love? But here's the most important thing after all of this. When you ask a human being, what do they want from their heart? And when you ask them, what do they want from your head? We come up with different answers. Whatever the reason is that you have a different answer that comes to you, versus your head versus your heart, to me it doesn't matter that much. What matters is that when you ask that question and you get a different answer, you have different choices. And then, so my philosophy is, who gives a shit where it comes from? Tune into the body. Tune into the idea, to the experience of knowing from different places within you. And then, the next part of the principle is, the part of your body with which you act on decisively, if you act from your heart, for example, you live a life, you create a life that serves the heart. And if you decide, or you answer with your head, and you move through the world and act in a way that's congruent with what your head wants, then you serve your head. And if you move through the world acting on what your groin wants, then you serve the groin. Now, I'm not talking necessarily in a physical sense, but you serve that part of you. If you have desires from different parts of your being and your body, and you act on those desires, you serve that part of you. And so it just so happens that one of the ways that I highly encourage, and because that's the way that feels most right for me, and I like to spread that love, that experience in the world, is to live from the heart. That doesn't mean I do everything from the heart and make every decision from the heart. There's still function with the brain, right? And the gut and the groin. Of course, I live from those places too. But in today's day and age, I think one of the biggest places we're separated from is our heart. It's the most subtle. It's the deepest. And when there's a lot of external stimulation comes mostly through the eyes and the ears, and that's all up here, right? And so our head is busy with thinking, dialogue, internal dialogue, noise, sounds, pictures, sights, everything. We don't hear it. We don't feel it anymore. We're disconnected from it. The heart is subtle. It's subtle. And isn't that a beautiful paradox in life? That the thing that's most subtle is the thing that will actually maybe the most fulfilling to serve. And so it doesn't matter, in my opinion, what it is, where it comes from, what it even means. What matters is that when you ask yourself the question, what would I love from my heart? Is that if you're getting a different answer from what would I love from my head, or my gut, or my groin, or my toe, or my eyeball, whatever, if you're getting a different answer, then think about which part of me do I want to serve? Where do I want to create my life from? If you live your life answering from your head and acting on that, then you're going to create a life that serves your head. Just be careful that you may leave your heart behind. Much love.